Alright, welcome to episode 2 of Shadow the Hedgehog as we continue on with the canonical pathway of the game. Now you can see that we have completed the neutral path in Westopolis and the villain path in Glyphic Canyon, which will bring us to the next level, which is Cryptic Castle. Cryptic Castle is the same castle as Hang Castle from Sonic Heroes, so again there's some overlap here. You'll see some reused assets. And then one of the nice things that this game does that Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2 also did, is if you come out of the game and you go back into it, you'll get this little summary screen telling you what exactly you've been up to.
Following his orders,
and so
the black creature's ancient temple.
Here we can see exactly the path we've taken so far to get Shadow where he is. And I've cut out the two cutscenes that you saw in the last episode so that we can jump right into the level of Cryptic Castle. This is an important level in the canonical playthrough of Shadow the Hedgehog because this is where Shadow's motivations change and pretty much remain consistent from this point on. So we run across Amy. And Amy Rose, of course, is the female hedgehog who has a big crush on Sonic the Hedgehog and claims to have a special relationship with him that personally I don't think Sonic sees. You know, he was running away from her at the end of Sonic Heroes and that kind of thing. But just like if you take Starscream from Transformers away from Megatron, if you take Amy Rose away from Sonic, she's a lot more interesting and reliable of a character because now her craziness, her manic interest in Sonic is no longer a factor. And she actually becomes, more the characterization that she'll later get in Sonic Boom. So, Shadow the Hedgehog is very kind in its presentation of Amy Rose, again, because it's not a Sonic-based game. So, we're jumping around here using this lantern we lit a cauldron. We also used it to create a couple of things. We can run into ghosts and hurt ourselves that way. But we needed to light that lantern, even though it's part of the villainous mission, in order to get this pathway opened up. Now, one of the interesting things about Cryptic Castle, even though we're playing the hero mission, our theoretical allies are the egg pawns, who are naturally always shooting at us. Because they're not good guys, but they are our theoretical allies here. So that means that killing an egg pawn fills up our evil meter and ultimately helps our villain score. So that's kind of a bummer. So here we are in this room. We get Amy back, and we also get this broken wall here. And behind this broken wall is Cream the Rabbit. Don't know how she got back there. Also don't know how she gets out of the castle, because Amy is going to come with us, and Cream is just going to stay back there, I guess where it's safe. One of the interesting things about this game is that Shadow deals with amnesia throughout the game, and one of the important moments that he had in Sonic Adventure 2 occurred courtesy of a run-in with Amy. And he has, of course, no memory of that. Of course, Amy would remember, and it could be a reason why Amy is one of the characters who has a real belief in Shadow throughout this game. Whereas other characters, constantly questioning his motivations one way or the other.
I don't like the looks of this place.
Alright, so we're going to wreck this flying character into a few walls, because I'm trying to speed it through that area as fast as possible. And we're going to kill a robot. And since we've got Amy with us at the moment, it brings up an interesting sort of thing with Amy's dialogue in this section. Now, because the egg pawns are enemies of the Sonic gang, Amy will usually, even if you kill them, she'll remark about whether or not the egg pawns got what were coming to them, or whether it's just too bad. And sometimes she'll just tell you to ignore the egg pawns altogether. What's really funny about this is that because she's coded to aid Shadow with her homing attack, like every ally character is, sometimes she'll kill a robot and tell you to ignore the robots. Or admonish you for killing the robots, as in there's other things to be doing. So we're going to jump on our second balloon here, after having ridden the alien stuff that we sometimes have to ride or deal with as Shadow. And we're going to go into this room. Going to get a shield, shoot some aliens, and keep a move on. Another interesting element to Shadow's Amnesia is that in this game, everybody's voice changed. Sega got rid of the previous voice cast for whatever reason, probably a cost-saving venture, and outsourced the voice acting to 4Kids Group. 4Kids were the same people who Sega had given the rights to the Sonic X anime for localization into the US. And so the people who gave the voices for the Sonic X anime, which was off of the air, I believe, by this point, are now also the voices of the characters in the games. And it's a certain continuity there. If you were a kid watching the Sonic X anime in 2003, I have not watched the Sonic X anime. I've heard nothing particularly good about some of the tropes. I mean, the characters are probably true enough, but, did we really need Chris Thorndike or something like that? I think you're much better off watching the Sonic Boom cartoon that exists now, although that is admittedly for a different audience than the Sonic X TV show. So we're messing around here in the back of this castle, looking for a particular pathway to get to where we already found Cream, to where Cheese is. And now we're going to get flummoxed by fire physics. So I was going to grab this pole as a weapon, but as soon as I grab it, I swing it to adjust it, and it sets off the dynamite that I could have used to more easily go through some of these breaks in the wall, instead of having to melee my way through, which takes a while. And your score is partially determined by time. And so here we filled up our evil gauge because we killed all these robots, who were by far the most numerous enemies on the stage. I mean, there are not that many Black Arms units to get hero points for. And this is about the time where I started running into a little bit of trouble with the buttons. You see, I came into this game after my playthrough of Sonic Heroes, and I was used to a bunch of stuff being mapped to the X button. One of the nice things that Shadow the Hedgehog did was it relieved the stress of having a lot of different stuff on the same button. So if you're in Sonic Heroes and you're trying to do certain things like jumping from rail to rail, or your Rocket Excel attack or whatever, they were all on the same button. Here, the Lightspeed Dash and the Spin Dash have been moved to the B button. Of course, there really wasn't a Spin Dash in Sonic Heroes. Alright, and now we found our way into this Chow Garden. The grind rail is now also on the B button, which is very helpful for later on. So we need to get to the other side, and then Amy will give you an audio clue.
I think it was cheese.
Amy will give you an audio clue that you've gone the right way, because she'll say that she thinks she hears cheese. So if you follow this Wolfenstein-style secret passageway, eventually you'll find this pit. And for some reason, cheese is playing around in the bottom of this pit. Oh, and hitting him over the head with the torch, yeah, only made the level last longer. So, you know.
Want to stay clear of trouble, then stay away from
So
the doctor.
we killed a bunch of robots that were in our way, and you know that took us a while, so we got an E rank. But we saved Amy and Cheese, and now we're ready to ask the doctor what he knows about these black aliens.
Another Chaos Emerald.
And if he'll give us his Chaos Emerald.
What are you doing here, Shadow?
Doctor, I don't want to fight with you, but I need those Chaos Emeralds. They hold the secret to my...
Enough of this nonsense. The Chaos Emeralds belong to me. All of them. No one gets in my way. Those who do will be destroyed.
And this brings us to our first boss fight.
I will crush you.
This is the Egg Breaker. As it's a robot contraption, it is capable of,
Let me show you the power of my latest great
you know, it's got a big mace on its hand. It's got a couple different attacks it uses. One Eggman likes to use on this board is one where he jumps down and creates an earthquake. Small note. The way to beat this boss is to move out of his way when he jumps, get slightly out of his range, and then hit him with your gun. Then run away and repeat the process again. I didn't exactly get away, as you know, I didn't exactly pull that off as much as I should have. So a couple of problems with this stage, particularly with this boss character, is the stage is completely open. There are no obstacles for Eggman to worry about as he's maneuvering the Egg Breaker around. And he can jump just about anywhere. So you're going to see me holding onto this ring for dear life from here on out. He has a long-range attack where he can shoot his mace at you, which is easy to avoid, except if you're not paying attention to him. And that's what usually kills you in this level, is the thing you're not paying attention to. Whether it's the egg pawn you can't see that you're going to run into, or the Eggman mace, or, just getting your distance a tad wrong. This is a second stage fight mechanic here with the rotating mace. Again, not hard to avoid, but it is a thing. In my feelings, there's not enough ammo in this level. If the homing attack was more effective and could take out egg pawns in one hit, it doesn't in this game, and the reason for that is a carryover from Sonic Heroes, where they're basically trying to encourage you to use the game's gun mechanic, similar to they were trying to encourage you to use the game's power character mechanic in that game. Right, the other problem that you'll run into, other than if you try to homing attack villains, and you'll find Eggman jumping on your location pretty quickly afterwards, just like that, is that your gun doesn't automatically turn to shoot Eggman when you start moving around. So if you run away, you've got to turn your gun back to Eggman, and that may give him enough time to catch back up to your position. And I also don't believe that there's enough ammo on this page. For an extra obstacle, the ring of stuff on the outside of the boss area has the little ghosts that emerge from it and can hurt you. So you can't really run around out there. There are 2 more instances of this boss in this game that just depend on which route you take, whether or not you face them or not. That time I got hit by an egg pawn shot from off screen. And those instances are actually easier. Because in Mad Matrix, the Egg Breaker has got terrain issues that they can't really avoid. And after Iron Jungle, when you face it there, you're given turrets with lots of ammo to fire. So to beat this version of the boss, which again I wouldn't have played this level except that I think it's part of the canonical pathway, you might want to find a friend who can take over Amy and deliver some homing attacks to keep the Egg Breaker off balance. But the aliens invading Dr. Eggman's home have made him interested in fighting them with his forces, so we are going to see some of that. Because since we completed the hero mission in Cryptic Castle, we are now going to be moving on to the level called Sky Troops. Sort of like Egg Fleet from Sonic Heroes, and the fact that you're running around in the air. There's lots of bottomless pit stuff. Although they really do a good job of making you think you're on a connected land area, because these are the same ruins that you were on in Glyphic Canyon. In fact, the map is very similar. You're going to see lots of mechanics that are the same from Glyphic Canyon. But no tornadoes, thank God.
Isn't that the doctor?
So Shadow's just saved Amy and Cream. He's been teleported here by the Black Arms, because they do that periodically. And he's got a choice to make. He can either make a run for the Doctor's ship, which would be the neutral pathway. He can shoot down the Eggman fleet ships for the evil pathway, or he can knock out the power sources of the alien mothership for the hero pathway. Which means that once again we're playing a level where killing the Eggman robots is actually bad. I'm killing these first couple because I need a gun. I'm almost immediately going to regret doing that, because there's a better gun right here. It has nothing to do with those Eggman robots. This is one of the alien guns. It's one of my favorites because of its rate of fire, its area of effect. It's a much better gun than some of the other things that you'll see available in the game. Alright, so unfortunately killing the aliens in that first area caused these aliens to already be shooting at us before we even came through the door. Which doesn't seem like it's fair, but whatever. I mean, after all, these are things that are commanded by a being who can teleport around his own self. So now we're moving through Sky Troops, killing as many aliens as we can, again, to try to help our hero score, because after all, we are after the hero mission. And at this point, I'm going to try to kill as few robots as possible. It will happen. Okay, now, here's a pathway option for you. You can either use the gun mech, or you cannot. I would recommend using the gun mech. It's quicker. The reason that I didn't use it here was I honestly just wanted to see what this was like. And there's a robot that I said I wasn't going to kill. So here we are in Sky Troops. Now, I was pointing out the 4Kids voice cast in our last level as we run through this very glyphic canyon looking segment. And it occurs to me that despite things that have been done to Amy Rose's character over the years, there's never really been a bad voice actress for Amy. I mean, there's been some transition periods for that. But Jennifer Juilliard from the adventure games, Lisa Ortiz in this game, and Amy's current voice actress all do a very good job with her character. Some characters don't have it so lucky as to the quality of voice acting that they've gotten, particularly given the turnaround. One of the nice things about the voice cast from Sonic X is that they had spent time doing Sonic X before they did any of the video games. So they already had some time with these characters. If you wonder why Mike Pollock is such a good Dr. Eggman here in 2016, it's because he's been doing the voice for 13 years. There's a lot of experience there. Whereas a lot of people usually think that Tails gets the short end of the voice acting stick a lot of the times, partially because they don't really know what they want to do with Tails' voice, but they also keep replacing the Tails' voice actor more than they replace anybody else. So, not every character has it so lucky as far as what's gone on with their voice casting. In this game, the person voicing Shadow is Jason Griffith, the same person who voices Sonic, which seems to me to be a heavy lift for both this game and the next one, where Shadow has a big role. But again, this is something that was pre-established in Sonic X, and they didn't. They decided not to mess with it. All right, now you can see what one of these gun mechs actually looks like and how they jump around. And now we're going to parachute into the next part of the stage. We're just short of the 100 rings we need for an extra life here, but next time we'll get them, and we're going to skip through this section by going up instead of down. If we'd gone down, there would have been a gunfight with both robots and aliens. And here, it was just so dark that I didn't even notice that these little aliens, they like to hang out on the walls and suck out your soul, were even there. Right, so now we got another light speed dash thing going on here, and Eggman should give us a nasty little message as soon as we jump down. Yeah, evidently we missed one of the green glowy thingies. So my hope is that it wasn't far away, so I just backed up, and there it was right there. So then I blew it up, and there's only a couple of green glowy thingies left. Now, Sky Troops presents an interesting question for the Shadow the Hedgehog canonical playthrough. And that is, while we're going to end up at Cosmic Fall as the last level in the playthrough, how we get from Sky Troops to Cosmic Fall is not as obvious as the routes we took in the rest of the game. I mean, we went to Cryptic Castle because there's evidence in the expert mode of Shadow the Hedgehog that you completed that mission to save Cream and Cheese, because both Cream and Cheese will talk to you in particular levels and reference that fact, which wouldn't make a lot of sense if it hadn't happened. And now we've run into the invincible shield enemies, which you have to homing attack their shields away before you can kill them normally. The shield is so overpowered it even resisted the chaos control upgrade, from filling up my hero gauge. You saw. So we're going to take this little artillery piece here, and we're going to work our way back up. So we went to Cryptic Castle for that reason, and because we had to end up at Cosmic Fall, we have to decide whether or not to do the hero mission here or the neutral mission. And I'm going to spoil it right now and tell you that I chose the hero mission where you destroy all the green glowy thingies. And again, I'm not going to try very hard with the flying section. I'm just going to try to make him go as fast as he can through it, even if he runs into some stuff.
Holding down the 8, check the lower right-hand corner of the screen to see the creature's remaining health. Make sure you steer clear of walls and obstacles while flying. Don't fall.
But to get to Cosmic Fall, you can either do the neutral pathway in Space Gadget, or you can do the hero pathway in Iron Jungle. And it just seemed more natural to me for Shadow to destroy these little green thingies that he activated in the Glyphic Canyon stage. You'll also notice that the last of the green glowy thingies appears on the map before the goal ring does. So that's another reason why we chose to do things this way. And so now we finished Sky Troops, and we killed some robots, although we killed a bunch of aliens, as you can see from our big hero score. But it took us a while, so we only got a D. Oh well. So as I was saying, we will be going from here up into space. And how are we going to get into space? Well, after teleporting to this area, which I think is actually inside Eggman's base, so it could be that we were fighting over Eggman's base in the air. We're going to get picked up by we're going to get picked up by Sonic and probably Tails in this spaceship. And the thing I like about this spaceship is, if you look at Sonic from this angle, it doesn't look like he's actually standing on it. It looks like he's standing in front of it, and thus he should be falling down, Wile E. Coyote style. It's only when the camera changes and you can see him actually standing on the 3D model that makes any sense. But we're going to be taking Shadow to the Ark, to the space station where he was born, the space station where the most traumatic event of his life occurred, and the space station where he had to live and learn.
Ark. This place. So familiar.
And so we will let Shadow's memory and the conflict of the aliens is only going to escalate next time. And I will see you then.
Oh yeah, bring it on. Looks like the party's getting started. Time to rock and roll. You up for this, Shadow? Shadow, don't you remember? We once raced each other here.